Good day. You're welcome to the African Teacher Platform. Now, we're going to continue with the puzzle, but today we're going to highlight the first element, hydrogen. So, as you can see here, this is the puzzle again. Um, you can buy it from Amazon. You just need to type periodic puzzle in Amazon and you can obtain a copy. Now, last time we talked about conceptual teaching and learning, which means that we're going to add meaning into the learning material. So we're going to look into hydrogen today and to see how it impacts our lives on this planet. So you can see here the group numbers. So I put hydrogen in group 1, but it's not supposed to be there because it's a gas. And the group 1 element, the group numbers just means that it's the number of electrons that are outside the shell, the outermost shell. So hydrogen got one electron outside the shell, just one electron, and it's a proton. It hasn't got a neutron. So I place it there, but usually people put it in the middle somewhere because it's a gas. Now you have alkaline metals have one electron outside the shell. So the group numbers, so the Roman numerals, they are important. They will tell you exactly how many electrons are outside the shell, so they are transferred away. So, but the most important thing about the hydrogen is not the group, so the group number, is the fact that hydrogen is responsible for the sun, the light that was coming from the sun today. Now, 70% of the sun is hydrogen, 70% of the core of the sun. So, and what we observe, what we see, we look up the skies, is nuclear fusion reaction taking place. That means the nuclear fuses. Usually, what we mean by nuclear, if you take a plant cell, we talk about the nucleus, means the inner part of it. So for atoms, the nuclei, the nucleus, or we call it nuclei, it consists of protons and neutrons. But in the case of hydrogen, it's just a proton, it hasn't got a neutron. So the two nuclei fuses. The nuclear fuses to form helium. And at least 28% of the sun is helium gas, 28%. And about 1.5% are the other elements, usually from lithium, beryllium, carbon, and things like this. And 0.5 will be, the rest of the elements right up to iron. Iron is here number 26. So the importance of hydrogen now cannot be overemphasized here. Two importance. I'd say the first importance is the type of reactions they do and the type of compounds they form. They are involved in all acids. Actually, the measure of the acid, the pH scale, is based on the hydrogen ion. The pH means hydrogen potential. The bases as well, the OH group, hydrogen, and of course the hydrocarbons that make almost everything that we see. The hydro there means hydrogen is involved, the hydrocarbons. Okay. So, but the most important part of hydrogen is the light that comes from the sun itself, because the sun powers almost every living thing on this planet, directly or indirectly. So we owe our energy, the energy I'm using to speak now, from the energy we got from the food and all this, because the energy that drives cars and things like this, from hydrogen. So from the light and hydrogen, the sun powers almost everything. Unfortunately, there's negative side effects, like climate change, talking about. So how does it come about? Now, Light itself is good, but light produces heat once it hits the surface. So what we see, what we call the greenhouse effect, is usually light coming, the sun rays striking the earth, and they form into heat waves that's supposed to go back into the atmosphere. But unfortunately, because of some gases that due to human activities, we produce these gases like the CO2, the methane, and sulfur dioxide, and all this type of things. That they're called greenhouse gases. They shield this heat from escaping back into space, and that is responsible for heating up the planet. In a nutshell, that's what it's all about. So, why do we need to learn all of these things? And why am I bringing this? I talked of conceptual teaching and learning. Now, if we explain exactly the impact of the learning material or how the learning material is related to the learner, for example, every learner would have experienced the sun. Every learner knows about the food they eat, where the energy comes from. So this will trigger the interest in learning about hydrogen. That is different from if I just chuck a bunch of formulas or symbols in front of a learner, say, okay, memorize it. This is called hydrogen, memorize that. And the research has shown that if you do this, only about 5% of the total learners were able to grapple with this sort of type of learning. It's called a transmission mode of learning. Only about 5%. But if you add context to it, like what I'm doing now, putting context into it, making it relevant to the learner's experience, they know what the sun is, and they might understand if I go further from there to explain the other things that hydrogen is involved in. And that, because it's related to their experience, they will have the tendency to relate to it. And this will have more than 80% of the learners, engaging in a meaningful way. And this is what we're talking about. And this leads to a deeper understanding of the learning material. So follow us on YouTube for more updates on things like this, on this type of teaching and learning. For today, I will leave it there. I'm Dr. Charles Agbo. Our YouTube channel is The African Teacher, there as in DE, The African Teacher. Follow us there and other platforms. Have a blessed day. Yeah, the focus today is on hydrogen. As you see the diagram on the board there, it's got the sun and the earth and hydrogen and helium. And of course, you got the board there, all the elements. In front of me here is a young lady.
Hi, my name is Manchong.
So what have you learned today about hydrogen, Manchong?
So I've learned today about hydrogen is that it's important because it makes helium and generates light to the sun. And the sun helps our planet a lot.
Okay, I'm happy with that answer. So we're going to leave it there. You can see all these other things on the board. It's part of the hidden curriculum, and it's part of the cultural capital that I was talking about, and links to conceptual teaching and learning. So we shall leave it
and
there.
this
and have a blessed day.
periodic puzzle.
Yeah, that's periodic puzzle. Yes, you're right. Okay.